Good morning, fellow ruminators. Welcome back to another session, Rumination with Andrew. It is my distinct pleasure to be with you one more time to discuss a very important topical matter. Now, this morning we are going to be talking about the response by MUTABARUKA to the Bob Marley's biopic movie premiere, which was showcased in Jamaica some times ago, probably about 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago. Now, Mutabaruka is a very controversial radio announcer, radio talk show host, I should say, and one who is himself a bona fide Rastafarian, and one who thinks of himself to uphold and what should I say now, to preserve the Rastafarian culture and its fundamental belief systems and values. Now, one of the things that struck me about Mutabaruka was the fact that he tends to think that Rastafarianism is not a religion. He perhaps thinks that it is a political philosophy, right? And it's a movement that seeks to liberate Black people, but not a religion. But lots of scholars would disagree with the Muta on that point. It is, in fact, a religion. I think most people understand that. But remember, we said yesterday that one of the folklores in Jamaica suggests that in Jamaica, there are no facts. There are different versions of the facts, right? So Muta is articulating a different version of the facts, right? That the Rastafarianism is not a religion. I believe it's a religion. In fact, it has or holds Haile Selassie as its God. And that alone should tell you that it is a religion, even though Haile Selassie is on record, right, saying that he was not a god, right, that he was a mortal man and would have been succeeded by other men, because that's what happens to mortal men, that they die, and they have people who succeed them, right? So Haile Selassie is on record in saying that, but Rastafarians still believe that he is their God. And I think Bob Marley also believed that, right? And Ethiopia is to them a very, very important country, because from thence they are going to be liberated from this Babylonian system. And by Babylonian system, I mean this white Western power, dynamic, right? Under which we are right now. Now, if the Bible was read, if Mutabaruka would go and read his Bible carefully, he would understand that the Babylon as a power, the kingdom was already destroyed. What we are under right now is a Roman system, right? Under which also the America is only Roman divided, if he would read his Bible. But what he does, he casts lots of aspersions on the Bible and suggests that the Bible is the white man's tool to destroy Black people. But I'm not sure what is on the record. I'm not sure what he's seeing Rastafarians doing to empower Black people. I have not yet seen. There's no record of, in which Rastafarians have built cultures, right? And have built countries. There's nothing, no record of that, right? You have a few people who say that they're Rastafarians in the world's population, but we have not yet seen in all the years that they have been in existence any building of nations. Jamaica is a small country, and if Rastafarians wanted to show their aptitude, right, and their dexterity at building countries, right, they could have built Jamaica, because it's a very small country. So now that you are to some extent accepted, I think Mutabaruka and all the Rastafarians should take up the challenge to build Jamaica socially and economically and in all facets of its existence, right? I think that Mutabaruka should take up that challenge. But let's look at what Mutabaruka was saying as he expounded upon his reaction, right, to what took place. He's not now critiquing the movie, as he suggests in the video. He's actually just responding, his reaction to what happened before the movie even started. And also, he's giving his impressions there. So let us look at what he is saying. Let me share my screen with you. I was just here looking at something else and was confused. All right, so let's see MUTABARUKA here. So let's listen to him briefly and then we can have our conversation.
What transpired in the movie and the audience that was present here. I was one of those who was invited because of my cameo presentation in the movie. No, I sitting at the movie, I sitting at the theater, and I talked to my wife and I said, well, this is something else. See, imagine when you look at the crowd outside and the people then who is outside, including the Prime Minister of Jamaica and the opposition leader, and two of the royal family of England. Not to mention all the people them who I know say it's years and them are picking them not go carry. Because most of them would have never find themselves below crossroad. This is a Rasta man who's projected and portrayed in a movie with all the bad word them, according to them, all the ganja smoking them, and all the drumming of the Rasta man them in the movie. This movie was able to draw everybody. And I sit there and I tell you the truth, some tears come on my eye. Why the tears come on my eye? Because when I just start side Rastafari, there's no way Rasta would have been on the screen. As a matter of fact, there was no way a Rasta man could have go a carrying. Not to mention a Rasta man who are going to barefoot. Because you have sign on the door. I tell you, say, no shirt, no this, no that, no shoes, no entry. And I live to see the Rasta man ideal and philosophy is pushed out on that big screen. And people who I know say don't like Rasta, and if them pick me, they never come in at the house and say, they will go side Rasta, they would have run them out immediately. Because I know you who come to me and say, why they have a problem with them parents? And I say, why? Because they will say, I is Lassie, and I smoke herbs. Them pick them, the parents, them no want them in the house. As a matter of fact, and I swear to this, one you come to me, uptown you, and say, his mother tell him, say, I bet I'm going to turn a party man than going to turn Rasta. You hear me say? The mother said, I bet you're going to turn a party man than going to turn a Rasta. Now, this is the thing where we go through. We go through some serious cut off locks, beaten to death, run up in the hills and mountains, can't come a street. For you come a street, is persecuted, not only by police, but by the normal common people them. Them never like Rasta. Now we see it reaches stage now where a celebration of Rastafari is projected on a big screen. A man who look and do all the things there that is abomination to the system. And him sing against the system. Now we see the system hug him up. And the thing with them hug him up is one song, one love, one heart, let's get together and be all right. Look at man. First of all, a lot of the lyrics in that song was written by Curtis Mayfield, from the impression. Then no. That song was made from the ska era. The ska era. That was like a song where it happened at Jamaica don't say, put where the gun them and the bomb come out killing a one in our country. It was made for the times in Jamaica, because even in that time, it didn't have a whole heap of criminal and gun activity to that one. And it's a very important part of the whole thing that right now we see that movie is going to make millions and is going to bring millions to Jamaica in terms of tourism and the popularity that Jamaica achieved in the 60s and 70s. We're going to come forward again. We're going to come forward to the second part.
So as far as Muta is concerned, the last sentence, you know, what he was saying in the entire video, to some extent, was truthful, right? That Rastafarian and the religion, Rastafarianism, were rejected in Jamaica, right? It was a counterculture to the Western Jamaicanized version of what decency was all about. And one of the things that concerned many parents, you know, and parents were often concerned, was the fact also that, for the most part, most Rastafarians tended to embrace the smoking of marijuana. And we know, and just a cursory examination of the effects, the psychological, the mental effects of marijuana, it's not good. We know that it is not something that it's good for the human body, for the development of the human brain and the functioning, the adequate functioning of the human ability to think and to reason. And for that reason, if you listen to a lot of Bob Marley's interviews, you would see that his interviews were often, he was just talking. There was not much depth in his interviews, right, in terms of what he had to say, right? You have to listen very keenly to probably pick out one or two things that made sense. And that, to me, was because of the fact that he was under the influence of marijuana. And thus, he was a lot of times not able to think clearly and to reason rationally, right? And it's something that we need to understand. So I don't have anything with the parents, not that they should want to throw out their children, but they should want to reason with them. And I think Jamaica has a lot of problems now to add the smoking of marijuana. Well, it's there already, but to even make it legal, it's going to compound, right, the situation, the psychological damage that has been done, particularly to Black males. We need to think our disposition very carefully, right? Now, the global elites, as he was suggesting in the video, in Jamaica, the elites, what was happening there in Jamaica was, as we have said on this channel before, was that there was an unequal distribution of wealth in Jamaica, even though in the 1960s, the GDP was growing at a rapid rate, right? And the economy was growing. But that was the macroeconomical, it was going at the macroeconomic level, not at the microeconomic level. And for that reason, many people saw the inequality, the inequity between the rich and the poor. Now, as he suggested in the video, that's MUTABARUKA, people started, like the Bob Marleys and other singers, to sing One Love, let's to get together and feel all right, because we're all equal human beings, right? And because the violence had started then, because people were skeptical of what they were seeing, and the fact that, you know, there seemed not to have been any way out of their economic plight, right? Their socioeconomic plight. So those songs were actually made to suit that era and to sort of soothe the agony that the people were enduring, that they had to confront. Now, Bob Marley and his music, the One Love, let's get together and feel all right. It is the same thing that we're going through right now. We're seeing where the global elites, not only in Jamaica, but worldwide, including in the mighty United States, we're seeing the global elites, right, siphoning off the wealth from the lower working class people and to the middle class into their own hands. So the money is being siphoned off again. And when they're talking about economic growth, it's not economic growth for the ordinary working class and in most cases for the middle class, because our earnings, our savings are being depleted through the process of inflation, right? The dollar is not the same as it used to be. When you go to the grocery stores, when you go shopping, you see that you have to spend more. So your savings, whatever you have saved, you cannot do the same with it that you did with it maybe a year or some months ago. And in Jamaica's case, maybe a week ago, right? So the global elites desire that we don't think about the economic robbery and the economic, what should I say now, downturn that we are facing. We should just come together and sing one love. Let's get together and feel all right. And they can continue to steal. And that's exactly what is happening worldwide. So at this juncture of the history, for example, when they were down there shooting their videos in Jamaica, that is, and these guys are, as he suggested, as MUTABARUKA has said, are going to get billions of dollars. Now, he's saying that millions of dollars will go to Jamaica. I mean, if it does go to Jamaica, MUTABARUKA, you and I know that it's not going to remain in Jamaica. So you might have tourists flocking the island, but the dollars are not going to remain there. They are going to be expatriated. If I should educate you, MUTABARUKA, those dollars will be expatriated to what you call now tax havens, in which these billionaires or millionaires can be enriched. Yes, there might be a few jobs, right? But these jobs are not well-paid jobs that are going to be able to provide the basic amenities for Jamaicans to survive. Right? So we're going back, we're actually regressing back to the decades of the 1960s. And now they want us to sing one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. The difference now between the 1960s and the decade in which we find ourselves is that at least you had two competing superpowers. In that decade of the 1960s, we were in the throes of the Cold War. So you had the United States understood that it had another ideology that was competing with its capitalistic ideology, that of communism, right? Right now, the decade in which we find ourselves, the era in which we find ourselves, there is no competing economic ideology. You might say China, but China is, as we know, is a state capitalist society country. So capitalism is its economic ideology, even though communism is what it practices politically, in the political realm, and perhaps in the social realm. But we know that its economic development is built on US state capitalism, Western state capitalism, as much as it perhaps would deny that. But that is what it does. That's why it has lots of billionaires. Its economy was growing, not sure it's growing at the pace it used to right now, but China has acquired a lot of wealth, right, through that process of state capitalism, right? Not the capitalism that is practiced in the United States, where the billionaires control the economy. They, what you call now, sort of a privately owned, corporate-owned capitalism, if you will, right? That is what is practiced in the United States, where the government is not able to rein in the power of the law to control the greed of these global capitalists, right? So they reign supreme, not only in the United States, but in countries like Jamaica. And then the government has to be in subservience to them, to the global corporate elites, financial elites, the global corporate financial elites. That is, hope that you are hearing what I'm saying. So with all of this happening in the world and people's wealth and their ability to survive are rapidly deteriorating, then we find ourselves in a world in which the global elites said the only thing to do is to indoctrinate them that we're all equal and that we should sing one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. And Michael and Bob Marley, I was going to say Michael Manning, and Bob Marley would have been the appropriate artist to be able to commercialize and to commodify who this person is and what he was trying to, the message he was trying to disseminate to the world. Now, Bob Marley was not trying to say that we should just accept injustices and say one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. And that is what MUTABARUKA, he was trying to intimate, but he did not so very clearly. Because as he suggested, that's the only song that was used in the movie. See, I haven't watched the movie, so I don't know. That's what he's saying. And he viewed the movie, right, when the people came to Jamaica, went to Jamaica. So the fact of the matter is that this one love has nothing to do with any protestation, any sort of, rebellion against a system. They tried to avoid including those rebellious songs, which spoke about the social injustices that afflict our societies. All they wanted to do was the smoking of herb, of marijuana, and we should sing one love, let's get together and feel all right. In other words, a brainless society. The global elites desire a brainless society, a society that cannot think, a society that is addicted to vices like the smoking of marijuana, drinking, taking drugs. That is what this is all about, right? And this morning I was about to do the topic. I was going to expound on the topic, the commercialization of Bob Marley's image, which I shall do tomorrow. But I decided to, since I had this video, to respond to what MUTABARUKA was saying or not perhaps saying, right? So his thinking that Rastafarianism is going to be accepted in society or has already been accepted in society is nonsense, because it has nothing to do with Rastafarianism. What it has to do with is the commercialization, the objectification, the commodification of Rastafarianism. That's what it's all about. It's the same thing about the whole matter of Christian, whether you're Christian or you're not a Christian, you're a Muslim. The United States is not a Christian nation, and many of its leaders do not like the Christian religion because the Christian religion sheds light on their weaknesses. And that is why many people don't like the Bible, because the Bible exposes who we are as a people. And we don't like what we hear and what we see about ourselves. Right? So we prefer to rebel and to walk the other way to destruction, which is definitely going to lead to destruction. But if we don't want to listen, as we would say in Jamaica, you are going to feel if you don't listen. And that's exactly the road we are treading on, that road of human destruction. With the smoking of marijuana, the wide-scale smoking of marijuana, we are treading on that road of destruction. And it's time for us to take stock and to be able to understand the specific agenda of these global elites. But many of you don't want to understand it, because all you want to do is one love. Let's get together and feel all right, because that is all you like to do, like to gyrate your body and to dance, because that is what life is all about. nothing to do with economics. You are not looking at the religious agenda that these people are also pushing. But let's go back to the fact that the United States leaders are not Christians, but they would rather you think that they are, and they're pushing this war in Israel, and you're thinking, yeah, they're Christians and they're upholding the Bible, and the Bible is, is supporting genocide and all the nonsense that you think the Bible supports. But the Bible does not support genocide, at least not by men. We understand that God is the ultimate ruler and he has all right to create because he has creative powers, and he has all the rights also to wipe us out if we're not behaving ourselves. Because one of the reasons why God has to wipe people out is because if he doesn't, we are going to destroy the good people. We are going to destroy the entire planet. Right? And that's how powerful evil is. And we're seeing that right now in our world, that if God does not come and put an end to this nonsense we're seeing in this world, we're going to destroy ourselves. We are heading in that direction of destroying ourselves, because humanity doesn't have the wisdom that we flaunt ourselves of having. We just don't have that wisdom. The heart, as Jeremiah 17 verse 9 says, is above all things desperately wicked. And the author of that book says, who can know it? We ourselves don't even understand the nature of the human heart, which is desperately wicked above all things. And one of the things that is so desperately wicked about it, it's deceptive nature. So when you're smoking the weed, when you're smoking the marijuana, and you think you're smoking a joint, and you think that you are being elevated, but you are actually deteriorating your health. But you don't know that, because the heart tells you that you feel like you are uplifted, and you think, let's get together and feel all right, right? Because that is what it's all about. And I did tell you that at the World Economic Forum that was held in January of this year, the global elites are concerned that the masses of the working class and the middle class, right, are concerned about what is happening to their economic purse, right? They're concerned because we know that something's amiss here and that we're losing. So they're trying to indoctrinate us to let us know that they're not the enemy. We are the enemies, right? And we are going to be fighting about who should be national hero, why they should legalize marijuana. That's going to be a long battle. And at the end of the day, they're stealing. While our attentions are being distracted, they're stealing. And when you wake up, you are going to realize that you nor your children have anything to eat, and clothes on your back, and a roof over your head. You are going to realize that, and then you are going to wake up, but it will be eternally too late, because you need to wake up now to smell the coffee, to see what these guys are all about. And you have not yet awoken. You're still sleeping, and you're still in that slumber. And even though we're saying, we're calling in, we're patting your back, we say, get up, wake up, you're still not able to wake up, because you have been hypnotized. And I did tell you, turn off the TVs, turn off the TVs, because some of you think that you can control what your mind processes, but you can't. And that is why you do things like taking that thing in your body, into your body. I won't say what it is, but you were so hypnotized, mesmerized by what you thought was the science. And it was another thing, right? You've got to wake up, and you've got to understand that this world is not an ordinary world as you think you are living in. And every wind of doctrine that passes, you just run with the current. You just flow with the current, even though you don't understand what's going on in the world. Right? But if you should understand, and it's much, much more sinister than I am even articulating at this point. Now, there is an article that was written here by the newspaper online conversation, right? The conversation .com, the conversation.com. And it was written here, let me see when it was published. Let me see if I can see the date. Maybe you're even seeing it, I can't see it. So probably you're seeing it. I think it was published 2 days ago, right? If not a day ago, right? I can't see the date right now, but it's recent. Obviously, the Bob Marley's biopic movie is a recent movie, and they're talking about it and the controversies surrounding the production of that movie. So the title of the article is From Rebel, so they're looking at Bob Marley, From Rebel to Retail Inside Bob Marley's Posthumous Musical and Merchandising Empire. Let me just make it a little bit bigger so that my eyes can be able to tolerate what I'm reading. Now, we have here, the long-awaited Bob Marley biopic One Love will highlight important moments in the musician's life, his adolescence in Trenchtown, his spiritual growth, the attempt on his life. But as a music industry scholar, I wonder if the film is yet another extension of the Marley marketing machine. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow and to see how the family is also involved in the extension of this marketing machine of their father and their loved one, whatever you want to, whether their grandfather, whatever he is to them. Marley died in 1981 at the age of 36. He'd achieved a level of mainstream success unrivaled by other reggae acts, and he did so while challenging global capitalism and speaking to the oppressed. This image, however, is fundamentally at odds with what has happened to Marley's name and likeness since his death. Now you can buy Bob Marley backpacks, Bob Marley jigsaw puzzles, even Bob Marley flip-flops, right? So there's nothing, it's a wide thing on which his image is affixed. The accusation of selling out could once seriously threaten an artist's credibility. The insult wields far less power in an era when an artist's survival often depends on sponsorship and licensing deals. Meanwhile, a deceased artist's ongoing earnings are left in the hands of others. Nonetheless, when a musician as revered as Marley, and whose songs were suffused with messages of liberation, anti-imperialism, and anti-capitalism becomes so commercialized, it's worth wondering how this happened and whether it threatens his artistic legacy. In his 2023 list of highest paid dead celebrities, Forbes placed Marley in the 9th slot. Some says it was 7th, but now they're saying it's 9th, right behind former Beatles frontman John Lennon. According to the publication, Marley earned 16 million, or rather his estate did. Well, some publications have that it was 23 million. So this is saying 16 million. Some says it's 23 million. So I don't know what it is, but I have read quite a number of other sources which concurred that it was 23 million that his estate earned thereabout in 2000. Oh, this is 2023. All right, so this is 2023. I'm talking 2017, 18 thereabout, so they might be correct. Marley's business affairs are now controlled by family members, the estate who have made deals with various merchandising and marketing partners, with all parties sharing in the profits. The commercial power of Bob Marley's name generates the royalties earned by the estate, though precise percentages are not publicly available, right? So Bob Marley, the dead Bob Marley, is earning lots of money, and so much for his the celebration of his artistic capacities, right? Now we're celebrating his ability to generate lots of money, right? Through the marketing and the commercialization of the man, right? In an era of minuscule music royalties, a large portion of that 16 million in earnings also comes from merchandising, which has further watered down Marley's revolutionary politics and spiritualism. All right, so it was his music didn't have only to do with politics, but it also had to do with spiritualism. right? Spiritualism. He's your hero, right? He's not mine. Thanks to what two writers called the Disneyfication of all matters Marley. You can now buy Bob Marley themed coffee, ice cream, and body wash. There's sustainability sourced. There's sustainably sourced, sorry, Bob Marley branded audio equipment in addition to a line of Bob Marley skateboard decks, right? The cannabis brand Marley Natural shows how the Marley name has become commercially intertwined with corporate America, right? Let us look at this because this is what I read and I want to also show to you. Maybe I'm giving you the video before the video is even made. It's funded by the American private equity company Privateer Holdings, which is on Wall Street, by the way, which the Marley family had approached to gauge their interest in collaboration for the product's release. The creators of Starbucks logo were hired to design the logo for Marley Natural, further underlining the venture's commercial ties, right? And Starbucks is now in Jamaica, so hope you're making that connection. Aside from the obvious fact that these associations pay no heed to Bob Marley's anti-capitalist messages, I find it bitterly ironic that the private equity firm calls itself Privateer. And this I read also in another scholarly article that was, published by the Sage. Privateers were commissioned ships involved in plundering and murder across the Caribbean. They are among the old pirates Marley sang about in his mournful redemption song, right? And the old pirates are now back in the Caribbean, economically enslaving the populace and the world by extension, and people do not understand their agenda. While the Marley family claims that Bob would have approved of the cannabis enterprise, critics see indiscriminate mass marketing, right? That's what it's all about. I did tell you that if they can sell the pair of eyes on your body, if it's saleable, right, they will sell it. The global elites, the global capitalists will sell it because that is what they believe in. Profit over people and the message that people would like to diffuse to the world. And certainly Bob Marley was diffusing a revolutionary message, as they are here suggesting. We don't know if Bob Marley had remained alive and he had been still with us, right? If he were still with us, if he would continue to spread, to diffuse, to disseminate that revolutionary message, because things, people, and times change, right? And people sometimes tend to change with the times in which they live, right? So we should not elevate Bob Marley right now to that pedestal. Michael Manley was a man of his times, right? In the 1970s, he was revolutionary. He was anti-capitalist. Well, not to the extent that they exaggerated, but he was to some extent, he was anti-predatory, parasitic capitalism. Let me just make that very clear. Yes, that he was against, right? But he was a democratic socialist, as he was self-described. But when he came back to power, that's Michael Manley, in 1989, to run the Jamaica's economy, he now became a bona fide capitalist, right? Right? A free market capitalist, right? That same philosophy that has destroyed the island. And that island will never come back to any sort of what you call it now, order. And will never, be able to, what should I say now, have economic prosperity. In 2001, his daughter, Sadella, who runs part of the estate, that's the Bob Marley's, is released a fashion line called Catch a Fire. The name comes from the Wailers' first international album, which the group released in 1979. On it, tracks like Slave Driver, Concrete Jungle, and 400 Years connect the poverty of the present to the injustices of the past. Can T-shirt and other apparel help spread these messages? Perhaps, but it's hard to argue that Marley-themed hot sauce does, right? So they're now making his message into this marketing, vehicle in which they can get money. Money, 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 right? It's money. That is what it's all about, right? At least for some people. For some people also, it's the upending of Western civilization in terms of the values that we hold dear. Be careful when they talk about values, because their values are in total opposition to the values on which Western societies were founded. And it's time for you to understand that. The real situation of one love, critiquing any aspect of Bob Marley's legacy can elicit defensive responses, like what I did when I said Bob Marley does not deserve to become a national hero because our people are so uneducated that they're not able to understand the dynamics and the history and how history has to be understood before you can understand what is going on before your eyes. You only see what is there before your eyes and you're sending messages and behave like you understand when you don't understand. Because if you did, you would not have responded the way in which you're doing. The estate has long portrayed the rampant commercialization of the Marley name and image as an important way to sustain and spread the artist's ideals. But do you have to market something to spread someone's ideals? No, we don't have to market the Christian religion to spread Christ's ideals. Some people are doing it, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to. The only way you probably need to market is probably have to take a plane, right, and go to spread the word. But that's not marketing, right? You tell people what it's all about, and if they want to, hear the message, but you do not connect with predatory globalists who are seeking to destroy and uproot Western civilization. However, I think it's important to ensure that the artistic and cultural values embedded in his music do not become clouded in a haze of rampant commercialization, which it is, right? The One Love movie, backed by Paramount Pictures with 4 Marleys listed as producers, will certainly extend the mythologies and the harsh realities of Bob Marley's all too brief life, which was cut short by melanoma. But it's also a massive international marketing vehicle for the sale of even more officially branded merchandise, which is going to be the cannabis also involved in it. And you've got to take stock. When are you going to open your eyes to see? Immediately when I saw that this movie was going to Jamaica, I connected the dots. Why can't you connect the dots? And it's not that I am any more wiser than you are, but I'm not allowing my emotions to run amok. I am actually thinking, and that's what God made the mind to do, to think. You think first, and then you express your emotions. And my emotions are sad, very sad, because I realize that they are exploiting the man and his image. But you're in this state of euphoria that you are one love, one heart, let's get together and be all right. That's exactly the mood that you are in, because that's the mood of a slave, and you love to be a slave. That's what it's all about. On the one hand, the fact that people so eagerly buy products plastered with Marley's face and words reflects the profound connection he continues to have with his listeners. But on the other hand, it's difficult squaring Marley, a symbol of post-colonialism and anti-capitalism, with branding collaborations and private equity firms. These two are not compatible. All right, as I was suggesting to, what's his name? Orlando Patterson, the Harvard professor, that democracy and peace are not compatible. That the democracy that we know today was built on violence, right? His music means so much more, and his anti-imperialist messages as warmongers threaten basic human rights around the world are perhaps needed more than ever, right? And this was written by Joe Adetunji, right? This is the editor at the Conversation in the UK, right? Beautiful article written by you, Adetunji, right? I'm sorry if I'm actually not pronouncing your name correctly. I'm almost sure that I'm not, but I apologize profusely for having not done so. So you've seen it, you realize it, and I shall expound more and give you a more historical understanding of the commercialization of Bob's image in a subsequent video. Be sure to like and to subscribe. You have to like the video if you want the video to be shared. And for our community to grow, you have to like and to subscribe, right? And many of you are not subscribing. You just view the video and you move on. Now, how are you going to share truth with people and to share a more in-depth understanding of what is taking place in the world? Right? I'm not here to give you superficial messages, right? And superficial videos to give you just clickable videos, as many people are doing, right? I'm here to educate and to inform and to empower, because that is what it is all about. Thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you in another video when I shall expound on another very important matter. All the best to you. Bye.